ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Harihi Om. I welcome you all for this, I think, 18th session. I'll confirm that next time, of Bhagavad Gita, which has been going on uninterrupted during this COVID virus crisis online, and these classes were going in person at the Hindu temple of Allentown. We have stayed with me successfully for all this time during this second chapter and also the first chapter, and especially in the second chapter, we are almost at the end of the chapter. It's a very long chapter, but I hope you did not feel the length of time as we were dwelling in this chapter, just because of all the interesting content of this chapter which we were looking into. We have come to the 68th verse. The 68th verse starts with the word tasmat. Tasmat in Sanskrit would mean therefore. Because of all what went before, therefore, that is a tasmat. We all have human sharira, therefore. We are all born as human beings, therefore. But here specifically, the therefore is a summary of the last few slokas which we saw as a part of the answer to Arjuna's question regarding who is a wise man, who is a wise person, and if I can make it more specific, it would be what it takes to be a wise person, or even more, if we can add some more detail, it will be how is this knowledge of a wise person steady. The steadiness is what we are interested, because we are all wise at some point of our time regarding something or the other. Even that wisdom does not stay with us. So the steadiness is also important. So when the steadiness becomes important, then what has to be highlighted is what is happening at each and every transaction. Each and every transaction, because the world is full of transactions. We are all transacting every moment. And when we transact with situations. And situations are called Vishaya in Sanskrit. So, these situations we always interact. Now, that Vishaya in Tamil also, when you ask someone how is it going, you ask, enna vishayam. In fact, if something good is going, you would change the question as enna visesham. So enna vishaya means it's a situation. It can be either way. In Tamil we do that. And in English also, what is a matter? Although a matter can be an object, a matter refers to object. Matter, what matters to you is matter, which is the Vishaya. So, when our indriyas, our senses, with the blessing of this ignorant, limited mind, which is in the path of getting enlightened, in the sense, path of lightening up, path of becoming matured. Let us put it more practical. So there are only two types of people in the world, according to Pujya Swamiji. One group of people are emotionally matured people, matured people. Then the other group would be what? If I ask you, don't tell me immature. Either they are matured or maturing. And what takes to be maturing? When the senses, when we don't place our senses on the Vishaya, when we place the senses in our buddhi, when the senses are in the hands of our buddhi, instead of being at the hands of the Vishaya, and the Vishayas, what Vishayas are all around us? The Vishayas are all around us in the form of our Raga Dvesha, which would translate to likes and dislikes. What is pleasing and what is displeasing. So the whole world is made of these two things for us. So that means the Indriyas are on this world of what is pleasing and not pleasing. So we are trying to have the Indriya in our hands. So we saw all the dosha of Indriya being the one which is in control, which means the Indriya has robbed our buddhi. We saw buddhi nashat pranashyati dhyayato vishayan pumsah. With all the Vishaya dhyana, the buddhi nasha, and then pranashyati. That's the destruction of the buddhi, of our intellect. That means there's the destruction of ourselves, which we don't want. And also we saw just the last sloka that this person whose mind is robbed away by the senses, in the sense, the senses don't rob. The sense objects also don't rob. But the placement of the senses permanently on the sense objects is equivalent to robbing our mind. That mind is like what we saw in the last sloka. Vayuhu nava imam iva ambasi. In waters, Vayuhu. The wind is this ship which has got a boat, which has got a placed small boat, not a huge boat. So it has to be even more careful. This small boat, our buddhi, which has to reach, which has to accomplish so much things for us, that buddhi has been taken away by the wind of our extreme likes and dislikes, of our by the Vishayas. When the mind is not available even for one Vishaya, when the mind is taken away by one Vishaya, it's not available even for applying in a different Vishaya. When the mind is taken away, carried away by one situation, then I'm just saying it is not even available to be able to act on a different situation. So that is kind of the dosha, that is why, therefore, tasmad means because of this dosha. Now let us look at the shloka. This tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah Indriyani indriyartebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita So we saw that tasmat, why? Therefore, what is the therefore? Because of all the doshas of indriyas being carried away, senses being carried away by all that which is around in terms of all our worries, all our likes and dislikes. Therefore, there is a dosha of that. Indriyanam pravurtau dosha upapattihi yasmat tasmat. Therefore, since therefore, yasya yatehe, the one who is making effort. So let us see, look quickly the meaning. Let us see first see the anvaya of the shloka. What is the anvaya? Anvaya means, we'll just split the words and rearrange the word. Tasmat, therefore, he Mahabaho, he the mighty armed Arjuna, asya, of these, of whose? Of these indriyas, asya indriyani, of these senses, indriyartebhyah, from what it is longing after, going after, from those sense objects in the sense people, situations and whatnot. Nigrihita sarvashaha, forever, for good, whoever is able to, nigrihitani, who is able to withdraw, effortlessly and efficiently withdraw, tasya prajna pratishtita, his intellect, his buddhi, prajna means buddhi, his buddhi is pratishtita, is steadfast in the knowledge, steadfast in self-knowledge. So that is the translation of the shloka. So this Mahabaho is for Arjuna, the mighty armed. So Mahabaho is an encouragement for Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, the mighty armed, you are being encouraged. For what? With this mighty arm, you were able to take control of the situations in war, in the battles. You were able to vanquish great enemies who were powerful. So same, with the same mightiness, but this time it is with the mightiness of your buddhi, of intellect, of knowledge, with the mightiness of the knowledge, with the power of knowledge, may you also vanquish the senses going after sense objects, in a sense, the uncontrolled pursuits, sense pursuits, may also have a hold on them. That is a Mahabaho. The word Nigrihitani is there, right? You saw the word Nigrihitani. That would mean one who is having a mastery. So when someone is a master, then the senses would become his slave. So which means you are in control and you know when to apply, for what purpose, and also when to withdraw. So these both are capable. That is why I said it is an efficient way of managing your senses. It's a very efficient way. And the example was given by Bhagavan himself, Kurmonganiva Sarvashaha, like the tortoise or the turtle, which effortlessly withdraws its limbs and then also throws it out when it has to move, when it has to do things. So you also do things. So that is the implication. So you're also active. doing what you need to do, but you know when to withdraw also, without getting hurt, without burning your finger, without burning others' minds. So take care of others also. And the word sarvashaha is there. Sarvashaha, you see the word sarvashaha? Which means it is not just a matter of suppressing and holding for a short time, or it is not a matter of withdrawing your senses like a sick person who doesn't have the sense of smell. They say when you are one of the symptoms of COVID virus attack is this person loses his sense of smell. So when you lose the sense of smell, it is as, and I don't know what is the connection, doctors might say, then the sense of taste also goes away. So that person also has kind of withdrawn. You would say, I don't want to eat a sweet, for example. That's not really because of some control, it's because of some disorder, right? So not because of any disorder, not because of any suppression, you have a total control, sarvashaha, total control in terms of your mind being fed with the knowledge regarding the limitations of sense pursuits and regarding the limitlessness of yourself being the source of that happiness which we seek outside, and regarding the preciousness of keeping ourselves sane. Nothing matters, just to keep ourselves sane. Koshanam api koshaha buddhihi. Your buddhi is the treasure of all treasures. So maybe not get it lost in these pursuits, because in these pursuits what happens? Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangastesho pajayate. In these pursuits there is an association, and I won't mind an association with a Satpurusha. I won't mind an association with a friend who can teach me. But this association is with the situations in terms of your likes and dislikes. They get hardened and they become real shaped desires, no problem. But then all desires, just based on your likes and dislikes, that we cannot justify them all to be fulfilled. Then there is a krodha, anger, we saw that, right? And anger is such a emotion, it can even produce a physical effect. Eyes can turn red. So that much of a biochemical problem anger is actually. And then it leads to other problems we saw where there is the moha, sammoha, anger, and not knowing what to do, and forgetting all the lessons we have learned, the reaction, and then because of the reaction there is a guilt and hate and whatnot. That is buddhinasha, all that we saw. So for all these reasons, the mind also has to be involved in keeping the senses in control. Then Shabdadibhya tasya prajna pratishtita. So his knowledge is established. Tasya prajna pratishtita. His knowledge, he is established. He is a wise person with steadiness of the knowledge, having control over everything what he needs to perform. So this is the verse. We just want to say that this is a verse which is kind of a summary of the last few shlokas where the sense and sense pursuits were discussed. So as we see, as the knowledge, as your knowledge regarding the pitfalls, regarding yourself, as this knowledge all increases, then you actually your say over your likes and dislikes also increases, or your likes and dislikes in terms of being extreme, in terms of being against what is right, what is wrong, and these things are not there. Your likes and dislikes in terms of being extreme, uh, that you're conscious about that kind of extremeness, I can say. And you may say that I don't see it, and it has been a while since I've been learning and all that. uh, Sometimes it can be that we are becoming more sensitive to our own uh, uh, doshas. So that way, um, it is also a positive thing that you feel you're more sensitive. But at the same time, Pujya Swamiji says, don't be judgmental about yourself. So that is where you have to keep a check, because charity or compassion starts with oneself. Then you can be compassionate towards others also. You learn so much by looking at your own mistakes, right? So they're all helpful in learning and making progress. And sometimes what you can learn from your own omissions and commissions may not have happened if it has to be learned from some external source. So it is all Mangalam Kalyanam. Ishvara is behind all of that in terms of the one who is in total control. Now, so this knowledge gives you some mastery, but one of the highlights of the last few shlokas which we saw is that you don't wait for the mastery over your senses based on your knowledge. You also work towards that mastery. You work towards having the ragadvesha in your hands. How would you work towards that? By having the attitude of karma yoga, by having the attitude of karma yoga. What does karma yoga attitude imply? Karma yoga attitude implies Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. I am performing these actions, this duty of mine is an offering to the Lord, to the Ishvara, to the Almighty. And what is the other component of Karma Yoga Buddhi? The prasada buddhi. Whatever result which comes out of my action, whatever comes out is a prasada from Bhagavan. Trying to be righteous in performing action and try to have the right attitude in accepting the result as prasada, gift, if I can use an English word, gift from Bhagavan, from the Almighty. And keep moving, keep doing what is right. So what would it do? It would bring your ragadveshas under check. Your extreme likes and dislikes, it will bring them under check. And slowly they will fall in line with what is right and what is wrong. Right? You can intuitively see all these connections because of, or even without having attended several other sessions, you can still make all these connections. And so this is how it works. Now, this ragadvesha, when you have a relative sense of control, relative sense of mastery, it brings a cheerfulness. That is a prasada we saw in the last few shlokas. See, I'm bringing that also here. That prasada, cheerfulness. I'm not bringing. Pujya Swamiji has brought. I'm just presenting it to you. And Bhagavan is helping me with remembering that at the right time, and I'm presenting. That's all. So the cheerfulness will be there. So that cheerfulness will be there, and so then the cheerfulness would help you to apply yourself cheerfully in pursuing self-knowledge, in pursuing karma yoga. So the cheerfulness will feed back into the loop and make you perform, keep taking one day at a time, and wake up one more day with that attitude, and then do what needs to be done. So this is the summary of the shloka. This is the explanation, detailed explanation of the shloka. And what I was about to say is, as a summary, this shloka itself is a summary starting with Tasmat. Therefore, He Mahabaho, He Arjuna, Nigrihitani Sarvashaha. So Sarvashaha, in terms of in all ways, in whatever possible way. Indriyani indriyartebhya, the senses from their objects or from the situations you keep with you. Nigrihitani, which means it's yours. So you have a say and you can apply it whenever you need. Nigrihitani indriyani indriyartebhya, then that person, his prajna is pratishtita. His knowledge is established. The knowledge is working for him. All right. So now, as just one more thing I would like to say, these are like two wings. Then one is you work for knowledge, and the other wing you also try to have a mastery over your senses. So both wings are helping you to fly. Bird with both wings. A bird with only one wing is as good as a bird with no wings, right? So that's what I would like to say as a conclusion, which is also, that example also is from Pujya Swamiji, that bird example also. Next shloka is a very vilakshana shloka, very unique shloka, oft quoted, and it's a classic shloka because people like to quote this. So now, यो अयं लोकः लौकिकः वैदिकश्च व्यवहारः स उत्पन्न विवेकज्ञानस्य स्थितप्रज्ञस्य अविद्याकार्यत्वात् अविद्या निवृत्तौ निवर्तते अविद्यायाः च विद्याविरोधात् निवृत्तिः इति एतमर्थं स्फुटीकुर्वन् आह. Look at this. Smukshubhihi sthita prajnaya samanaska indriya nigraha kartavyam ityuktam. So, for the sthita prajna, samanaska indriyani, samanaska. Along with the mind, the indriyas have to be in his hands for the sthita prajna, or for the sake of. So that sthita prajna, who can have it in his control, and for us, he is a guiding light. So we have to put our effort towards that. Having said that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna feels that I have to give an ultimate answer to Arjuna's question regarding who is a wise person. And so Bhagavan, according to Pujya Swamiji, wants to feel totally satisfied with this response. And there comes this shloka. And let's look into the shloka first. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sayyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe sarva bhutanam. Just looking at the words of the shlokas, the word sarva bhutanam, for all beings, ya nisha. What is night? Ya nisha tasyam sanyami. In that, what is darkness for all beings? In that, jagrati. In that, the wise person is awake. He is awake. In that he is awake. In what is darkness for us, in that the wise person is awake. Yasyam jagrati bhutanam. Yasyam bhutani jagrati. And in which the bhutas, beings, Jagrati, in which the bhutas think they are awake, alert, I am awake. In that areas where the bhutas think they are awake, they are alert, this matters to me and all that, in those areas, what is day? What is day for the bhutas? Pashyatah munehe sa nisha. For the one who can see clearly. Who is that? He is the Muni. He is the wise man, wise person. For him, sa nisha. That is night. So that is night. That is like night. Nisha eva. That is like as though it doesn't exist. Okay? So this is the shloka, as you can see, why it is popular. And the one side effect of being popular is each one has his own interpretation. They interpret like what is day for us is like night for the wise man, and what is night for the wise man is like day for us, and they don't really explain much. And does it inspire you to be a wise person if it is going to be like this? No. So we need to see the details. And even if you say a short meaning, it should be in line with the details, right? That is when we take up responsibility of explaining anything. And we cannot just say something around, like beating around the bush or just saying something which is not said. So ignorance and knowledge are like night and day. Like, see, this is Pujya Swamiji's topic. Ignorance and knowledge are like night and day. What is daylight? What is as clear as daylight for the wise person is an area of darkness for the unwise. And where the unwise thinks that he's awake, I'm alert, and all that, those areas, for the wise man, he would just walk away without really even bothering about it. So we'll see Shankara Bhashya, Shankaracharya Maharaj Bhashya, and we have to see that if this is the case, what is the phala? What is the end result? What is it being achieved by being such a wise person? That also Shankaracharya Maharaj brings it as a conclusion for this shloka. So we'll see all this as much as possible today. Ya Nisha Ratrihi. Ratrihi is not the Ratri which comes after sunset. That it is not a Kalavachi. It is not a time statement. It is not a statement of time that what is night which comes after sunset. No, that is not what it is. It is not a Kalavachi. We'll see that. Sarva padarthanam avivekakari, or it is an avivekakari. What is night? What happens in night? In night, when there's absolutely no light, the padarthas are not visible. All the items in the darkness, you cannot see them. You cannot see a vase, a ceramic vase for a vase. You won't see a folded, rolled carpet. You may trip on it. You may hit the vase. It may break. So these padarthas you don't see. That is aviveka. You're not clear. The viveka, the distinction is not there in terms of what is what. Tamas swabhavatva. So why is it called night? Because tamas swabhava. It is as good as your eyes are open, but as good as not open. Your mind is not able to perform when there is night. When there is darkness, the mind is not performing. Sarvesham bhutanam sarva bhutanam. The bhuta shabda is used for us. I know whoever is familiar with some Indian languages, this bhoot shabda, it always goes with pret shabda, bhoot bolte hain. The bhoot means dead. Hey, we are alive. Why do you say bhoota? Bhoota implies a dead man, a dead person. So why do you say bhoota? Bhutanam. Why in Sanskrit we are called bhoota? Not because our culture does not recognize you to be alive, not because of that. But this sharira which we have, it is based on our past karma. The past is also called bhuta. So that past bhuta is what used to say beings are called bhutani, sarvabhutanam. Then this nisha shabda, which is darkness. Why there is so much explanation about that? Because kim tat paramartha tattvam sthita prajnasya vishayah. What is the subject matter? You talked about darkness. Doesn't look like that is the subject matter. That is the intent of your discussion. So what is the intent of your discussion? The intent of this discussion is to say yata naktancharanam ahareva sat. The nocturnals. Have you heard of the nocturnals? Like the cockroach is a nocturnal animal, they say. Cockroach is a nocturnal insect. Owl. And then even the ghosts, they're all nocturnal, right? So for the nocturnal, agar ahareva sat anyesham nisha bhavati. Anyesham nisha bhavati. For the nocturnal, they are active in the night. For them, day is as good as night. They won't be able to see in the daytime. They disappear in the daytime. So, likewise, you would think Bhagavan Shankaracharya is going to put the wise man in the category of nocturnal. No. We are like the nocturnals. What is daylight for the wise person, for us, it is like night. It is like the darkness of night. Tadvat naktanchara sthaniyam ajnanam sarvabhutanam. This ajnana bhutas, like the beings who are not having this knowledge, self-knowledge, they think for them what is daylight for the wise man is like darkness. What is daylight for the wise man? What is daylight for the wise man? Let us see. Nisheva nisha paramartha tattvam. That darkness for the beings, in which area is the darkness, is paramartha tattvam. In this area there is darkness. In which area? In paramartha tattvam. In the ultimate reality. In the glory of, in the self glory. I'm not saying self glorification. In the glory of yourself, in terms of knowledge of the scriptures, in this area, there is darkness for everybody. But this area is very clear for the wise man, right? Why is there darkness for us? Agocharatvat. Atad buddhinam. Because we don't have the faculty. This area, which is paramartha tattvam, if I can say it again, just to make you own up that knowledge. There is an artha tattvam. Just the word paramartha tattvam, I am shrinking and expanding, right? Take the last part of the paramartha tattvam. Artha tattvam. Artha means wealth. Tattvam means the ways and the ways of, say, accumulating wealth. Tattvam, what are the means? How can I do this? How can I become a rich man in a short time? That tattva, that crux of being wealthy, that is artha tattva. And just add the ra, ramatha tattvam. Rama is to revel in your wealth, to pamper yourself with your wealth. So wealth, tattva, then what next is the enjoyment of the wealth. Ramartha tattvam. So you need to know that. So then you are seeking for the enjoyment. You are seeking for the ways and means of enjoying the wealth. Then you take the from the pa. Then it becomes aramartha tattvam. Ara, then you, after some enjoyment, you also want to be a charitable person, do some service. Then when you do a service, when you be charity, there is a giving away of wealth, giving away, putting some effort. So there's no rama, there's no reveling, there's no pampering yourself. There is a spending of yourself in terms of your effort. So that is dharma. There's a pursuit of dharma also, aramartha tattvam. Add a pakara, then it becomes paramartha tattvam. You seek beyond all these things. You see, what am I really seeking in and through all these things? So to that, what one would be seeking in and through all these things, which is the freedom from the sense of wanting, freedom from the sense of not having, freedom from the sense of not being the source of happiness. So to that, this jnani is awake. And we are not awake because we don't have that buddhi. That's all it is. So that buddhi means it's not a special buddhi. We have to be again reborn with that. No. It is the buddhi which we have to make it. So tasyam paramartha tattva lakshanayam ajnana nidrayaha. For us it is ajnana nidra for us. The paramartha tattva is ajnana nidra. We are asleep to that. But prabuddha jagarti sanyami. The one who is sanyami, the one who has put the right effort, and the one who has gotten there, who is a jitendriya. Sanyami means jitendriya. For him, he is well awake to that fact of his reality. Prabuddha is well awake of the fact of his reality. Then, yasyam, and what we are awake to, this is the next part of the sloka. What are we awake to? We are awake to grahya, grahaka, beda, lakshanayam. We are awake to all the differences. I don't have this, I want that. That kind of a difference. These are my people, these are not my people. Difference. This is my body, this is my body, and it matters more than others. These kinds of differences, right? Avidya nidrayam. Then we think we are awake. We think we are very alert, going around doing things based on all these differences. Now look at what Shankaracharya Maharaj says about this awakeness, this alertness of a ajnani. So, avidya nidraya prasuptani eva bhutani jagarti tyuchyate. This person is asleep and he thinks he is awake. When would a person who is sleeping think he is awake? A person who is sleeping will think he is awake when he is dreaming, right? So this person is asleep and dreaming, and the dream light is seeing all dream objects, dream situations, dream emotions, and all that he's seeing, and he's thinking that he's very awake to all that is happening in the dream, and he wants to attack that animal or jump from the mountain or stay away from this and that and all whatnot. So that is that person, and he thinks he's awake. But this person who is a jnani, so when you dream, when do you dream? When you dream in the night, right? Yasyam, you dream in the night. That is the second part of shloka. Yasyam jagrati bhutani. So please follow this nice connections. Yasyam jagrati bhutani. You are awake, but you are awake in your dream. Where you are awake in the dream. And when you dream, when you sleep. And when you sleep, at the night. Right? So for the jnani, sa nisha. So that is night for the jnani, because it is night. It is night. But for you who is sleeping, it is not a night. It is a complete big day and whatnot. Day, months and years. It is all the time for you in the dream. But you are dreaming because you are sleeping because it's night, and a jnani knows, what jnani sees, he sees only the night, which is what it is. But we are dreaming and we think this is day. Yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyatah. This is the one who sees. And likewise, what happens in the dream? In the dream, you see dream objects, you see dream space where there is no space. Right? Otherwise, how would you see mountains and all whatnot? You see where there is no space, you see space. Where there is no time, you see the entire your lifespan there in the dream. So where there is no time, you see time. Where there is no space, you see space. So atasmin tad buddhi. So what is real to you in the dream is where it is not there actually. So you are awake for that kind of a thing, whereas jnani knows this fellow is sleeping. It is night, past midnight. He is sleeping well. So that's all he sees. In the sense, that's all matters to him. What matters to you in your dream, what happens in the dream, doesn't really matter to him. So I'm not saying this to say, this is one important thing, to say that I didn't say that this world is like dream for the jnani. See, all the effort has been put to say what is what a jnani knows. What is in reality what a jnani knows. If I say the world is like a dream, I didn't say that at all. Then that means it robs away all the logic which we have been saying to explain who a jnani is. So jnani is someone who is well awake, and we are the ones who are half asleep, as Pujya Swamiji would say, sonambulist. So we are the one who are walking while you are sleeping kind of a situation, and walking in the night and tripping over several things, that kind of a situation. We are the ones who are there in that situation. Jnani is not in that situation. So that jnani is a pashyatah. He is the one who sees. See, pashyati means he is the one who clearly sees. So he is not the one who is dreaming. For him, this world is not like a dream. But when it is a dream, he is just awake, and he is not the one who is dreaming. Okay. So in the dream, what happens? You know everything in the dream. You see the whole world in your dream. Only thing you don't see. What is that only thing you don't see? That I am dreaming. This is the only thing you don't see. And jnani knows. This fellow is sleeping, probably is also dreaming. Jnani knows that. Because when you wake up, you become a jnani too. What do you say? You say, I dreamt. So this I, which says I dreamt, is the same I with which you were associated with in your dream. That I was running, I was jumping, I need this, I need that in the dream. That same I is waking up and saying what? I dreamt. This is what Pujya Swami is giving. So that I dreamt, that person is jnani. So who knows better? Who is actually dreaming, right? So jnani is better. And he is a muni also. One Mahatma, Swami Akhandananda says, muni means maunam. He doesn't express himself. He doesn't go around saying he's a jnani. So that is why Pujya Swamiji also says, in this shloka, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has very clearly told, it takes another wise person to know a wise person. Arjuna's question being answered all through. It takes another wise person to know who is a wise person. The otherwise won't know who is wise. So all Pujya Swamiji's connection. So the comparison is not possible. And you cannot imitate a wise person. But you can be inspired by a wise person, and you can be inspired by a wise person to the extent you can take his lifestyle as your value. You try to live those life of values which a jnani can live. You might have forgotten, but I remember. What did I say? What is the phala of being such a jnani? Now, look at this person. If he's dreaming so well, and then that dream he wants to escape from a situation and whatnot. He goes and seeks help and all that, and then somebody says, yes, you have a problem and you're going to be shot. You need to hide there. You need to go away to a certain country and whatnot. And this person then says, I don't have money to fly. It is COVID now. What to do? There's no flights. No, I don't know how you would go. You would go, and then he jumps into a ship and all that, whatnot. So all this karma which this person is experiencing with the sense of doership. Oh no, I need to do this, I need to do that, and those dream karma, dream things and all that. That doesn't apply to the one who is awake, right? After he's awake, would he be looking for a ship to go to a place to escape whatever he was experiencing in the dream? He won't, right? So this whole karma is for the person who has this sense of doership, like the person in the dream who is having the sense of doership. For the jnani, this doership is not there in terms of reality. So the doership is not there. Then what happens? He is also free from any mandates. Jnani is free from mandates. That doesn't mean that he will live a life of indulgence and all that. No. We are fundamentally talking of, we have come up to this stage of a jnani. So we should not go back and talk about those vices. So this jnani, no mandate applies for him, and that is a real free person. Where no mandates apply, at the same time he performs charanti. We saw the word charanti. He performs charati. So he goes around and performs for the sake of the entire planet. So that jnani, for him, this is the phala. The kartrutva, bhoktrutva, the doership and enjoyership is that the dependence on doership, having to the pressure of doership or dependence of enjoyership, that those two connections are not there for the jnani, and he goes around performing happily, very clearly knowing what is what. So this is what I would like to say for this shloka, and Pujya Swamiji also says the same. And with this, I would like to conclude my session today. And let us see the next shloka and then conclude, because we have still 5 minutes. We'll quickly see the next shloka and then conclude. Before that, the summary of this shloka, and what you should appreciate in this shloka is how Shankaracharya Maharaj is bringing out the meaning, making you appreciate, making you be inspired by this shloka. That is, I think, something very unique. At least I enjoyed that. So I hope you also enjoyed that. So in that which is night for all beings, in that which is darkness, in the ignorance, in that which is for which the beings are ignorant, the one who is self-controlled, the wise person, is awake. It is a daylight for him. And that which is that in which beings are all awake, they think they are awake, like this person who is awake in the dream. For the wise person, it is as good as night. He is because he sees very clearly. So never say that this wise person is for him this waking state is like dream. That Vedanta talks like that. No, that is not it. He is the one who is really awake. Pashyatah. He is the Pashyatah. Remember this word, Pashyatah, Munehe. So this is the summary I would like to give for the shloka. And just we will chant the next shloka, which is another beautiful shloka. One way I can make you all come again for the next session, just by doing the shloka and looking into the quick meaning. Drishtantena padayishyan. Drishtantena means with a beautiful illustration. What is that? Vidushaha Tyakteshanasya sthitaprajnasya yatehe eva moksha praptihi. For this person, is moksha praptihi. Natu asanyasinaha. So we'll see the drishtanta and then we'll see all these details later. Let us do the shloka. Apuryamanamachala pratishtham samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti nakamakami. This is shloka, and the drishtanta, the shloka, the drishtanta, everything we'll see care of next session. Thank you all for attending one more session. We just conclude by doing Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.